Welcome to this week's video email. I don't teach music, I teach the child. You may remember that a couple of weeks ago I mentioned attending the final session of our 3-year musical exchanges project. 3 years of watching what happens when music is given time to root itself consciously during the early years. The morning was led by the wonderfully engaging Lucinda Geoghegan. Rather than observing from the back, we were invited properly in, singing games, swapping places, playing instruments, and responding as children would. It was joyful and it was precise. Lucinda shared a story about an instrumental teacher who once told her they didn't need her training, that playing their instrument didn't require any of what she was about to teach. After a moment's pause, she replied, "I don't teach music, I teach the child." That sentence seemed to settle in the room. It perfectly captured the philosophy underpinning the entire project: person first. The melodies we sang were simple and shaped around natural speech. Pulse came before rhythm. High and low pitch was embodied, arms lifting, bodies lowering, instruments positioned physically to mirror the sound. The session was fast-paced, but never rushed. There was space for all. One descriptive moment captures it beautifully. When a deaf colleague couldn't hear the difference between two contrasting bird sounds, Lucinda remembered she had invited the group to draw the sounds in the air. Long lines, short marks, wavy shapes. And by doing so, what might have created a sense of exclusion became instead a shared exploration. That's not adaptation added afterwards. That's belonging designed in. After the workshops, I asked participants to reflect in groups about their experiences. Each group was assigned a different lens: musical excellence, inclusion, regulation, cross-curricular learning, language, and systemic change. What struck me most wasn't the variety of responses so much as their consistency. People spoke about language development emerging naturally through song, about memory being activated, about teamwork and turn-taking, about children learning to regulate their energy as tempos shifted, about identity being shaped when children personalise songs and see their ideas woven back into the group. No one had to stretch to make these links. They were already there. As I listened, I realised that this is exactly what we've been building towards over 3 years in musical exchanges. Not performances or outputs, but an understanding among educators that music isn't an isolated subject. It's relational infrastructure. Which brings me to Diversitybuds. Diversitybuds was never about adding songs about difference to a busy curriculum. It was, and is, about embedding belonging structurally through music, about understanding that when children sing together, move together, make decisions together, and experience their ideas reflected back, they're not just learning musical skills. They're learning who they are, how they belong, and that their voice carries weight in a shared space. This isn't decorative work. It's systemic work, and yet we're often too quiet about it. After our discussion, I found myself saying something I felt for a long time. We don't advocate strongly enough for music education. Music education is often positioned as enrichment rather than entitlement. It's spoken about softly. It's treated as an optional extra, and it's the first to be squeezed when pressure builds elsewhere. But its impact tells a very different story. When you gather the evidence, cognition, language, emotional regulation, inclusion, identity, formation, social cohesion, the case is not soft at all. It's strong. Music isn't a luxury. It's not a filler, and it's not nice to have. It's foundational to how children experience themselves and others. So, if you find yourself in conversation this week about curriculum priorities or funding, about what really matters, you might borrow the spirit of Lucinda's words and reframe them in your own way. Notice the child first. Nurture their sense of belonging, then extend their learning. That is music education at its best. Do you think you could find your soapbox this week? Dust off the cobwebs and advocate for high quality music education in your neck of the woods. Many thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.